IELTS Speaking Part 2 Topic. Describe a time when you had to wait in a long queue or line. Where were you waiting? What were you waiting for? How did you pass the time during the wait? How did you feel about the wait?
Waiting in a long queue is something that most of us have experienced at some point in our lives. I vividly remember a time when I found myself in such a situation. It was a scorching summer day, and I was waiting in a seemingly endless queue outside a popular amusement park. I was visiting the amusement park with my family, and we were all excited to try out the thrilling rides and enjoy a day filled with fun and laughter. Little did we know that our excitement would soon be overshadowed by the daunting prospect of waiting in a never-ending line. The queue snaked its way through a series of barricades, with impatient visitors eagerly inching forward. We were waiting to enter the park and purchase our entry tickets. The line seemed to stretch for miles, and as we glanced ahead, it felt like an arduous journey lay before us. To pass the time during the wait, I decided to strike up a conversation with the people around me. I engaged in small talk with a family in front of us, discussing the attractions we were most looking forward to experiencing. It was fascinating to hear about their previous visits to the park and to share our mutual excitement. As the minutes turned into hours, the scorching heat became increasingly unbearable. Beads of sweat trickled down my forehead, and I longed for a momentary respite from the blazing sun. To distract myself, I resorted to listening to music on my phone. The rhythmic beats and soothing melodies provided a much-needed escape from the discomfort of the wait. Although waiting in that long queue was undeniably tiresome, I tried my best to remain patient and composed. I reminded myself that the amusement park was immensely popular, and waiting was an inevitable part of the experience. I focused on the positive aspects, such as the anticipation of the thrilling rides that awaited us inside. In retrospect, the wait taught me the value of patience and perseverance. It made me appreciate the joy and excitement that come from delayed gratification. Additionally, it highlighted the importance of making the most of challenging situations and finding ways to pass the time creatively. In conclusion, waiting in a long queue outside the amusement park was an experience that tested my patience and resilience. Despite the discomfort and the scorching heat, I managed to pass the time through engaging conversations and music. The wait taught me valuable life lessons and reminded me to find joy even in the most trying circumstances.
IELTS Speaking Part 2 Topic. Describe a time when you had to wait in a long queue. Where were you and what were you waiting for? When did this happen? How did you pass the time while waiting in the queue? How did you feel during the waiting process?
Waiting in a long queue can be an exercise in patience, and my experience at the Grand Book Fair was no exception. This incident occurred last year, in the vibrant city of Mumbai. The city was buzzing with cultural events, and the book fair was a much-awaited extravaganza. I was eagerly anticipating the chance to delve into a world of literature, but little did I know that I was about to embark on a test of endurance. The event took place in the sprawling convention center, known for hosting large-scale exhibitions. As I arrived, the sight that met me was astonishing, a serpentine queue that seemed to stretch to infinity. This colossal line comprised fellow book enthusiasts, all excitedly awaiting their chance to explore the treasure trove of literary marvels inside. The sun was unrelenting, and the clock seemed to slow down as I joined the queue. Armed with a novel that I had brought along, I figured it would be an opportune time to get lost in a fictional world while I waited. However, the idiom "time flies when you're having fun" did not apply here. The wait was exacerbated by the unfamiliar tropical heat, and the real world seeping into my imagination. As I stood there, I realized that the queue itself was a story, a narrative of diverse individuals from all walks of life, bound together by their love for literature. The feeling of impatience ebbed and flowed throughout the waiting process. The idiom "waiting with bated breath" captured the collective anticipation that hung in the air. As the line inched forward, conversations sparked up among strangers, united by a shared interest. The idiom "make small talk" took on a literal meaning, as we exchanged recommendations and stories about our favorite authors and genres. This unexpected camaraderie helped to alleviate the tedium of the wait. An array of emotions coursed through me during those hours. At times, I was restless as a caged lion, feeling confined by the constraints of the queue. Yet, a sense of excitement simmered beneath the surface, akin to a child waiting for their birthday presents. The idiom "a roller coaster of emotions" accurately captured the highs and lows of the wait. Finally, as I stepped into the well-air-conditioned hall, surrounded by bookshelves laden with literary treasures, the sense of accomplishment was palpable. The wait had tested my patience, introduced me to new acquaintances, and ultimately made the reward all the more satisfying. In conclusion, my experience of waiting in an extensive queue at the Grand Book Fair was a true test of patience and endurance. The idiom-laden journey was punctuated by the scorching sun, camaraderie among strangers, and a roller coaster of emotions. Despite the challenges, the satisfaction of exploring the literary wonderland made the wait worthwhile, reminding me that even in the face of adversity, the journey can be as enriching as the destination.
IELTS Speaking Part 2 Topic. Describe a time when you had to wait for something or someone. What were you waiting for and when did it happen? Where were you during the waiting period? How did you pass the time while waiting? How did you feel during the waiting process?
One memorable instance when I had to endure an interminable wait was when I had planned to meet a close friend for a much-anticipated event. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon, and we had decided to attend a major music festival that had been the talk of the town for weeks. The waiting ordeal began precisely at 11 a.m. when we had agreed to rendezvous at the festival entrance. I was brimming with excitement, eagerly anticipating the exhilarating music, vibrant atmosphere, and the prospect of spending quality time with my friend. However, as the minutes turned into hours, my enthusiasm began to wane. I found myself stationed at the designated meeting spot, a bustling square teeming with festival goers. The sun beat down mercilessly, intensifying the discomfort of the wait. In addition to the sweltering heat, the area was teeming with people, making it challenging to find a comfortable spot to rest. To pass the time, I resorted to people watching, a fascinating activity in its own right. The eclectic mix of festival attendees, from eccentrically dressed music enthusiasts to laid-back hippies, provided endless entertainment. I also indulged in some light reading, immersing myself in the pages of a captivating novel that had been on my reading list for months. As the minutes dragged on and my friend remained conspicuously absent, my initial excitement began to morph into a cocktail of emotions. Impatience gnawed at me, while a sense of abandonment started to creep in. I tried to quell my anxiety by sending messages and making phone calls, but all I got were voicemails and unanswered texts. Time seemed to stretch endlessly, and I oscillated between anger and concern. I wondered if my friend had forgotten about our plans or had encountered some unforeseen delay. The festival's vibrant ambience began to lose its charm as I became increasingly preoccupied with my thoughts and unanswered questions. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, my friend appeared on the scene, looking apologetic and flustered. It turned out that they had been stuck in an unexpectedly long line at the festival entrance due to enhanced security measures. While I was relieved that they were safe and sound, the long wait had taken its toll on my mood. In hindsight, that day served as a poignant reminder of the importance of patience and adaptability in the face of unexpected delays. The experience of waiting for my friend, though arduous, allowed me to appreciate the value of the time we ultimately spent together at the festival. It also reinforced the notion that sometimes, life's best moments are worth the wait, even if they test our patience to the limit.
IELTS Speaking Part 2 Topic. Describe a time when you had to wait in a long queue or line. Where were you waiting in line? What were you waiting for? How long did you have to wait? How did you pass the time while waiting?
Last summer, I found myself ensnared in a seemingly interminable queue at the British Museum in London. My cousin and I were keen to view the newly unveiled exhibit on ancient Egyptian artifacts, which had garnered an inordinate amount of attention from tourists and locals alike. As we approached the entrance, our excitement was quickly tempered by the sight of an extensive line snaking around the building. We joined the queue at around 10 a.m., and it was immediately apparent that we were in for a protracted wait. The line moved at a glacial pace, exacerbated by the sheer volume of visitors and the meticulous security checks at the entrance. To make matters worse, the sweltering summer heat made the wait feel even more insufferable. We soon realized that patience would be our greatest virtue on this day. To stave off boredom and ameliorate the tedium of waiting, we decided to engage in various activities. Firstly, we struck up conversations with fellow queuers, many of whom were tourists from different parts of the world. It was fascinating to hear their stories and learn about their travels. This not only helped pass the time but also made the experience more enriching. Additionally, we had both brought books, and I immersed myself in a captivating novel, losing track of time as I delved into its intricate plot. My cousin, on the other hand, took to scrolling through social media and sharing amusing posts with me, which provided a much-needed dose of levity. Despite these distractions, there were moments when the wait felt interminable. We would occasionally check the time, only to be disheartened by how slowly it seemed to be moving. However, we kept reminding ourselves of the ineffable thrill that awaited us inside the museum. After nearly 3 hours of waiting, we finally reached the entrance, our patience rewarded by the sight of the grand exhibition halls. Once inside, the sheer magnificence of the exhibit made the arduous wait worthwhile. The intricate hieroglyphs, the majestic statues, and the meticulously preserved artifacts transported us to a bygone era, and we were utterly enthralled. Reflecting on the experience, I realized that while the wait had been onerous, it had also taught me the value of patience and the importance of finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. In retrospect, this experience was a poignant reminder that sometimes, the anticipation and the wait can be as significant as the event itself. The hours spent in line were an exercise in endurance and a testament to the enduring allure of human history and culture. Hope you liked our video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep us motivated.